let's get started. Operation Northwoods. What's going on, guys? This is we're calling it date night news.
I think so.
New Mulder and Scully
Yep.
with date night news. This is date night news. What's going on, guys? We're talking about Operation Northwoods today. Anybody who knows anything about Operation Northwoods knows that it is an alarming operation, to say the least, I guess you could say, with everything that's happened. And there's a lot of interesting characters. There's one interesting character that we're going to cover that I love, and I think there should be a movie on this guy. But first, we are going to check out the store. I just want to let you guys know that the store is up and running. This is a woman's t-shirt. Let's go to the homepage here. All your soul not for sale merch. This clothing line has just dropped. Every single purchase helps us continue to make this type of content without worrying about being demonetized or being limited in our revenue. So every single purchase helps. Hope you guys like it. I know a lot of people have been asking about the Soul Not For Sale shirt and where they can get one. Well, this is the place that you can get one right now. Oh, all right. I'm so hot, honey. I'm so hot. Whew.
Yeah, we're going to put links in the description box below as well for discount codes.
Show your hands so they know you're there.
I'm here. Hello.
So they know you're real.
Yeah. I'm a real lady.
That's a big distinction to make nowadays.
Born and raised.
Yeah, discount codes. You want me to put that in the description?
Yeah. Well, the code is I am Coach Colin for 10% off any order. Doesn't matter how little, how much. And then we're also doing free shipping in the United States for any order $100 and up. And that's just free ship USA.
God bless America with 10% off and free shipping. And I just want to thank her because she's the reason that the store is up and running. She's the whole reason that it happened. I am a very creative person, but I am not a very organized person. So getting stuff like that off the ground is really hard. I can make shirts all day, but it's very hard, as you can see. But it's very hard to get stuff off the ground. You need a good woman. If you're a single guy out there, a young guy, and you're like, I just want to Andrew Tate it out, don't be stupid. Look at Andrew Tate. I know this is a bad example, but look at Bill Gates. Look at Jeff Bezos. Even Elon Musk knew he had to get married. All of the major, Warren Buffett, all of the Mark Cuban, I could just keep going on and on.
Richard Branson,
they all need a good woman by their side. Get a good woman by your side who will research Operation Northwoods with you and talk on podcasts with you like this and make you stores. It's needed. All right, let's get into it.
So Operation Northwoods.
Yes.
Had you ever heard of this before we started doing research into things?
I heard about the things surrounding Operation Northwoods, but I didn't know about Operation Northwoods, and it would be something you would hear because growing up, I've been listening to Joe Rogan forever. Right?
Yeah.
That's why he's in the background here. So randomly, anytime he'd have on his best friend, Eddie Bravo would just he just spew out things. He was like Alex Jones almost. He would just start spewing and spewing and spewing. And he would always just touch on Operation Northwoods. He would just like throw that at people.
Oh, okay.
He'd be like, what about that? And we'd be like, what the hell's that? But that was the only, I just heard about it. That was it. Just heard the operation, knew nothing about the inside workings of it.
Yeah, I never really, my family isn't into conspiracy theories or things like that, as you know.
No.
Or even, history. So.
Her mom will be like, I can accept that you believe that.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
She'll say stuff.
Which is, it's so sweet.
That's nice. Yeah. Good enough for me.
Yeah, she still, will love someone for having different beliefs.
Yeah.
So, she's a good lady. But yeah, so I had no idea that this was ever a thing. And I kind of grew up in the school of thought that there's no conspiracy theories and that's all craziness and whatever else, but this it's not a conspiracy theory.
No,
this is just plain history. And so all of the documents that came out about Operation Northwoods were released in 2001. So Operation Northwoods was proposed initially in 1962. So almost 40 years later, 39 years later, it actually went out to the public. So I'm surprised more people don't talk about it because it's within our lifetimes that this has been released.
Yeah.
But I think they do that on purpose so it becomes less relevant to the times.
Of course. So when did you say it was released just now?
2001.
2001, and they do this for is it like 40 years after something happens they release files?
I thought it was like 50 years, but yeah, I guess.
So that means imagine what's going to get released in like another 10, 15 years.
But the way they release it too is they don't like, obviously they don't identify things in the document dump. It's just like masses and masses of data that people end up going through.
It's like a law. It's like when they like make a law.
Yeah.
Like some guys will be like, the law is 1,800 pages. And
yes.
Like,
yeah.
Who's really read that?
And then somebody combs through the bill. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh my God.
Hopefully
yeah.
when it comes to bills.
Yeah.
I did a whole video on that. This guy, Lindsey Graham, he like endorsed something, but didn't read it at all. And then when he was asked about it, he's like, is it this one? Like, I don't really know.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into it.
Yeah,
Operation
for sure.
Northwoods. I was going to say something else about, it's not even just that it's just history. It's the way things work. Like what they did in this is just what they do.
Yeah.
And we know about it in terms of Operation Northwoods, but it's probably happened in other ways. Mm-hmm. Like you say within our lifetime, like just years ago, maybe there's something like that going on. And again, I don't know for sure, but like Afghanistan, like all those type of places, like maybe they did something similar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the whole point of why Operation Northwoods is such a big deal is that it's proof that the government uses these tactics. So that when you think of any kind of negative world event that happens now, you have to think in the back of your mind, is this a false flag? Is this designed to garner public interest in war efforts?
Yeah,
because it's so possible, and this proves it. So it's absolutely insane.
We're on YouTube. Don't say false flag.
Oops.
False.
So what am I supposed to say? What is our code word? Because that's going to come up a lot.
Say say fun flags.
Fun flags.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Six Flags. Like the amusement park.
That's the code for everybody. It's fun flags. Okay, we're on YouTube here. We're trying to have fun.
Okay, well, basically, this fun flag operation was originated within the U.S. Department of Defense, and it was presented to the president at the time, who was JFK. Mm-hmm. So JFK had been sworn in 1961, so a year before that this operation was proposed. So the proposals called for CIA operatives to stage and commit acts of terrorism against the U.S. military and civilian targets. So they wanted to focus their efforts in Florida and make it seem like the Cubans were doing this, the Cuban government, the Cuban people. So the goal was just to blame the Cuban government and then justify a war with Cuba during all this Cold War nonsense. So the attacks suggested included the assassination of Cuban immigrants, sinking boats of Cuban refugees, hijacking planes to be shot down, blowing up a U.S. warship, and orchestrating violent attacks in U.S. cities. So it was very bad.
Wow.
Like not only like against Cuban people, but the American people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the chilling thing, and the more chilling aspect, like I brought up before, is like, how is that being done 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago? Like, who knows, right? Like, it's just really, really weird to think about, and it makes you, like you just said before, like it makes you double think everything that you're seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a problem over there? Are these people these bad people? Joe Rogan was actually talking about it in a clip. He was like, imagine something like this happened. Like you're talking about Cuba right now. I was just bringing up Afghanistan. But he was like, imagine if something like this happened in England, where the people look like us. They have the same type of diversity. They speak the same language as us. And we can actually hear them. We can see we can actually hear their position and like talk and really understand. And like how crazy it would all look. And like, yeah, it's just something to think about. Because then we'd know. Like, are these guys like this? And they'd be like, no, mate. And they'd be able to talk to us and we'd be able to like communicate.
Yeah.
But when it's halfway across the world, or when it's just like Cuba's nearby, but it's all these different people that we don't have contact with, and they couldn't have any contact with us at that time. It just it makes it really hard. Like if you can't communicate, you just kind of have to believe what you're being told.
Yeah, for sure. For
weird.
sure.
It's weird. Like I have friends in, just to bring up, like before you go on, like I have friends like in Israel, and they would talk about, guys like digging tunnels and they're trying to do all sorts of attacks. And, I'm always somebody who's like level headed. I try to think of both sides. And I'm like, have you ever seen it? And it's like, no, I would never have.
Yeah.
Like, so how do you know it's happening? It's like, well, I was told.
Yeah, exactly.
And like we always go, and this is every nation. It's not just like it's every nation. We just go with what we're told because that's the way things are supposed to work. We're supposed to have a bunch of Captain America type people at the helm of things who are telling us the truth and are going at all of this with like a very good, honest heart. But not always the case, as we're going to see throughout this story.
Yeah. Crazy. So this was all presented to JFK. And he rejected the proposals. So he said, absolutely no, we're not doing this. So there was actually a specific plan to sink an empty U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and then hold fake funerals for the victims and list all the casualties in the newspaper. Like fake names. How crazy is that?
That's wild.
Yeah, and JFK was like, no.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's like, again, it goes right back, like at that time, that JFK was like, no. But what did the other presidents before him say?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like if they were so comfortable going to the president proposing these things, then they're probably used to a yes.
Yeah. They're like, of course you're going to do this.
Yeah. And then 1 year later, JFK dies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's how it went?
Yeah.
So he said no to this whole thing?
Yeah. He said no in 1962 and died in 1963.
He wasn't going along. Mm-hmm. I mean, from the looks of it, I mean, there's many stories. There's stories of, the government did it. But then also it's like, I listened to that Sammy Guevara guy, and he has a long story about how the mob did it.
Yeah.
Like he has a long story about like, yeah, he's like, he even touched on the fact that the mob killed Marilyn Monroe, and like it was connected to that, and it was like a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
It's like, or maybe it was a combination of the two, which is even scarier.
Yeah. But that brings us to our favorite guy, the villain of this story.
Yes. Yes, you can keep reading. I got him pulled up on, I think, Wikipedia. I got him here.
So
good.
His name is Lyman Lemnitzer.
Yes.
And he was a 4-star general, which is the highest rank you can get for 14 years. Yeah, look at him there.
Yeah.
Looks so creepy.
Like I was saying, the eerie thing about this guy is like he's like this really worn in general.
Yeah.
And he's like, his face is just pristine face.
Yeah, he reminds me so much of in Game of Thrones, I think Tywin Lannister is his name.
Yeah. That's what he is.
Yeah, he
That's
literally looks like that.
Is.
Yeah, and he's like a war chief.
Yeah. Nuts. Born in 1899.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Pennsylvania. Died November 12th, 1988. 89 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just wild. And I noticed when I was going through this other work, and I'm sure we'll get to this later, but Rockefeller Commission.
Yeah. Oh, that's
like,
in there.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like this guy, like I remember when we talked about this at one point, I was like, if the Illuminati was like a real thing, like this guy is an Illuminati
for sure
character.
He's in there.
He's just like, he's been a part of everything. I think, well, I'll let you go into it, but yeah.
So basically he served as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under JFK, which is the highest ranking military officer in the U.S. and the principal military advisor to the president, the National Security Council, the Homeland Security Council, and the Secretary of Defense. So he is basically, like, how they call the president commander-in-chief of the military? He's the commander-in-chief.
Yeah. And
basically, the president's just there for a rubber stamp.
It's like the president's there to talk to the people. It's like the president's the buffer between the people and like the inner workings. And he just says, guys, we're gonna do good things, and people cheer and he waves. And then this guy's just behind him like, yeah, that's right, do that.
Yeah.
Wave, you bastard.
So Lemnitzer actually is one of the people who signed the proposal for Operation Northwoods. So he backed it entirely.
Of course.
And then a few months after the proposal was rejected by JFK, Lemnitzer was denied another term as chairman. So he was let go of his command.
Because he saw this person with all this power was willing to do this. I'm assuming JFK saw this guy with all his powers willing to do this.
Yeah.
And was like, I can't have somebody like this working. Like,
Yeah.
this guy has to go. And how many people did he piss off when he did that to that
I'm
guy?
sure so many.
Because there's probably so many
he was
guys
a
that were like,
14-year, 4-star general. There's probably so many people in his pocket.
guys who in his pocket, but also that respected him. Because there's probably guys who he came up with who watched him go through war and watched him climb the ranks and were like right alongside of him. There's probably guys who have always looked up to him, who are like, you know, entering the army and seeing this like general who's like been through it all. I think he was Korean War and World War II.
I think something like that. Yeah.
His main battles. So he got through that. Like, just highly respected. He was a general. So to get rid of him, it's like,
yeah, with
what are you doing?
JFK too, because he was kind of seen as like a playboy.
Yeah.
With not a lot of experience.
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot of experience, and you're getting rid of the guy that everybody respects.
Yeah.
Because he's just doing... The interesting thing about... And I've brought this up before. The interesting thing about this, the fact that they're willing to do this gentleman, all the war that he's been through and all the death that he's seen, it almost makes sense why he's willing to do something like this.
Yeah, he wants another one.
Well, I mean, he's like, we're just going to do this. Like, it's better that we do this and fake this thing and do all this, and we can just insert ourselves real quick, get this war over with real fast, so there's not as much death. Like, in his mind, maybe he's just like, I don't want to see like another World War II. I don't want to see another Korean War. He's like, trust me, the things that I've seen, you don't want any of that. So let's just do this now real quick.
Yeah.
Let's just be quick about this, guys. Yeah. To him, it's like, this is just preemptive.
Well, like I always say,
only 20,000 people are going to die.
Yeah. No one's the villain of their own story.
Yeah, right?
Everybody believes they're doing good for one reason or another.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, one of my favorite part, and I think yours too, about this guy is that the regulation firearm for military personnel was just like a semi-automatic pistol, like just like a little thing. But he would carry an M16 rifle around with him everywhere instead.
Of course.
That was his weapon of choice.
Large dick energy, industrial strength dick energy with that guy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just an M16. Can you imagine you're the president, some guy just walks
into the Oval Office for a meeting and he has an M16 strapped.
M16. And he's just like, First, Second Amendment.
Here's the proposal.
If you get tyrannical, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then here's the proposal.
Exactly.
And he's just like, I gotta get rid of this guy. This guy just scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So after this guy was let go by JFK, he went on to a high up position in NATO. And he is the only former chairman to hold another U.S. military command after his term as chairman ended. Most of them just retire, I guess, because they maybe hold that like until they're done and they just kind of step down probably when they're ready to retire. Mm-hmm. But this guy actually took another command after.
For sure.
And then in 1975, President Gerald Ford appointed Lemnitzer to the Commission on CIA Activities within the United States, which is also known as the Rockefeller Commission.
Wow. So this is after JFK, right?
Yes, this is after JFK died.
How much longer? It says 1963.
12 years.
So 12 years,
yeah.
And then he gets appointed in again?
To investigate JFK's death.
Oh, see what I mean? Like, that's the,
how crazy is that?
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it if you're one of those guys.
Yeah.
Hey, can you look into JFK's death?
Yeah, and he was looking into the allegations that two guys named E. Howard Hunt and Frank Sturgis were involved in the assassination of JFK. And why these guys are interesting is E. Howard Hunt was a CIA officer from 1949 to 1970. Mm-hmm. And he was part of the same brigade of Cuban immigrants that the CIA was using at that point in time to try and overthrow Castro. And that's where the Bay of Pigs thing comes in.
He was a part of the same... He was with the Cubans?
Yes. So the CIA at that point in time took a bunch of Cuban immigrants who didn't like Castro. And they said, okay, you can live in the United States if you help us in this military overthrow.
Okay.
So this E. Howard Hunt was a CIA officer who was working with that team. So it kind of leading them and helping them to go overthrow Castro. So he was in Cuba already doing all this stuff. So he's very much linked to things like Operation Northwoods and the overthrow of Castro.
Wow.
Yeah. And then those two guys, so E. Howard Hunt, who I just spoke about, and Hunt and Harvey Lee Oswald, who was said to actually kill JFK, have been sighted together in Mexico City in 1963, months before the assassination.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's like giving them notes.
Maybe.
He's like, this is how it's going to work.
Paying him off.
I'm going to give you some Cubans. They're really good. I've been working with them for decades. I've been working with them for years. They're really good. They're going to come with you.
Yeah.
They speak English. Yeah, they speak English. And by the time you're done, they're going to be back on a boat. You just make sure you get far away as you can. Right? Like something. Mm-hmm. Something, because, you know, I mean, this is a whole episode of itself. The actual, just that one shot that took out Kennedy is like, you could do a whole,
insane.
There's so much about that.
Yeah.
But there's no way it was one person.
Magic
There's just
bullet.
no way. There's just no way. There's no way. If it was possible, here's the thing. If it was possible for one person, just a crazy gunman, to just take someone out, you know how many presidents would be dead?
Oh, so many.
How many politicians would be dead?
I thought for sure Obama was going to get.
At least an attempt.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like, they wouldn't tell us, really.
It's true. They wouldn't tell us about attempts.
Like, the only reason we know about, like, something, like, where Trump had to, like, duck down and, like, get taken away quickly is because it happened, like, on
Publicly.
TV.
Yeah.
It's the only reason. Other than that, it's like, we don't know what happened with Trump.
Yeah.
Could have been attempts all the time.
It's true.
Right?
I didn't think Trump was going to have issues, though, because most of the gun owners backed him. So I thought that one was fine.
Yeah, anybody that didn't like Trump is like, how do I get this thing to work? I don't know how
exactly.
this thing works.
They have their Nerf guns with thumbtacks in them.
We're just going to send energy of destruction towards Donald Trump. We're just going to send energy. We're going to dance.
You join me in my meditation circle.
We're just going to dance in the name of him not being president.
Like a rain dance.
Yeah, that's very true. But I mean, again, like I said, like if that was possible, there'd be so many politicians that would be getting shot left and right.
Yeah.
So many.
True.
I just don't think it's possible.
And not just presidents, like governors, senators, anybody people don't like.
Yeah. It has to be orchestrated from the inside. I forget who that person is in like Roman times that got like stabbed to death by everybody. Maybe it was Caesar.
Caesar, yeah.
Yeah. Like that didn't happen. That wasn't just lone people. Like everybody had to collude. Yeah. Everybody had to get together and be like, can we do this? Like, let's do this.
Brutus.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what had to happen with Kennedy as well.
Yeah,
like, without
probably.
a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually going to say there's probably some attempts on Biden, but he's probably... have you ever seen Mr. Magoo?
No.
Mr. Magoo is like this old blind man. It was like a cartoon. And he would just like go around and he'd be like, he'd walk into like a street and then he'd like duck down and something go...
I was literally thinking of Biden falling down the stairs of the plane, and that's why.
Right? And then people were shooting at him. Like, oh,
damn it, Biden.
He fell again. He's supposed to be here in 2 minutes. He's just like asleep somewhere. God damn it, we missed him again. He's just too cunning.
Too cunning.
Yeah, you gotta see Mr. Magoo.
Nah,
like,
he's
Mr.
just
Magoo
sleepy.
has these
Sleepy
big glasses and he's like, what's going on? He has no idea what's happening. Can't see anybody.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I just have some other little quick blurbs on fun flag operations that the U.S. committed before.
Fun flags.
Yeah. So I was talking about the one
yeah,
where they were working with the Cuban immigrants. So they actually even painted U.S. military planes in Cuban Air Force colors to get into the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So crazy.
But I mean, you know, like once you're doing something to this scale, it's like that's like on the small end of things. Like of course you're gonna paint things and you know.
I'm pretty sure that's like, I know it's like sounds weird, but I don't think that's allowed in war.
Oh, to like lie?
I think that's like a UN thing. I know nobody really cares it's war, but I think that's like a thing that you're not supposed to do.
What's that guy's name? Lyman Lannister?
Lyman Lemnitzer.
Lyman? Yeah, you ask that Lyman guy about that. He's going to be like, you know what happened?
I was alive before the UN.
You know what happened to an honest man in World War II? I'll tell you what happens to honest men. Pull his M16 out.
Yeah.
He's like, just paint the damn things. Like, I mean, the thing about it is, and it's funny because like they're gonna do whatever they have to do, but like a thing I'm reminded of is like Tim Kennedy. He's like a big, Green Beret guy, military guy, and he talks about stuff like when he was being trained and how they train them to cheat, basically. Like he's going through this training, and like it was just basically like you're not gonna eat, so you gotta like go through garbage cans. It was like this whole big thing, and they were like cheating in the sense of they were like finding food in these MREs, which are just like basically, I don't know, we'll just say like Nutri-Grain bars. They were finding like a bunch of those, and they were like hiding them, and they weren't allowed to do any of this. But it was like we have to do what we have to do
to survive. Yeah.
Like, what are we just not gonna do it because we shouldn't? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So I would think the same thing applies in war. Like, as much as you can hide, you will, and you'll do whatever you have to.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at war with a bunch of my brothers, and the difference is I have to do something that's, the UN says I can't do, or one of these guys has a higher potential of dying, I don't give a fuck.
It's true.
I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. I want these guys all coming back to their kids and their wives, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's forefront. Accomplish the mission, and we all come back. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else.
Deal with it later.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get caught, who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then another one they did was in 1953, the CIA was ordered to perform fun flag tactics in Iran to overthrow the prime minister then. And they were involved in the bombing of at least one well-known Muslim person's house. And they were posing as communists in the country. And the CIA burned almost all of its files on its role in the coup that happened afterward.
Really?
Yeah. So they started this.
Wait, what did they do? They burnt what?
They bombed people's houses and they burned all of their records of everything.
Oh, they burned all the records.
Yeah,
Sure.
of course. That's their little go-to game plan.
Yeah, that's 101.
They always do that.
Yeah, you burn everything.
Yeah.
Obviously. Hillary Clinton, you delete all the emails.
Delete it all, burn it all, get rid of it. Yeah.
Everything you can right away. Yeah. Drug dealers, they flush down drugs. Like, you get rid of everything right away.
And then in 1919, a group of U.S. Marines disguised as a guerrilla group assassinated a Haitian guerrilla leader.
Really?
Yeah. So
assassinated?
Yep.
Oh.
They're just changing history all over the world.
To install a different person?
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
And then in 1964, with the Vietnam War, people say the war was sparked by an incident involving an alleged attack on U.S. ships by Vietnamese patrol boats. And the Pentagon has denied the allegations that this was their doing, but the similarities to the plan for Cuba are extremely damning.
Wait, what? Say that again?
So for the Vietnam War, it was sparked by the Vietnamese attacking U.S. ships. And that's literally what the plan for Cuba was.
Yeah.
And this is 2 years after the Cuban plan was proposed to JFK. They just recycled it.
Yeah, they just did it. See what I mean? Like, how many times does this happen?
That's crazy.
Times do they do it over
They
and
didn't
over?
even change their gameplay there.
No. Like, what for?
They just changed the president.
They're just, yeah, exactly. They're like, this works. Like,
Yeah,
we do this time and
Gerald
time again.
Ford, I think, after.
We just need everybody to be on board.
Yeah.
Like, as long as we can all get on the same page, we'll be fine. You know?
Yeah.
That's wild. Wild. Is that all the notes?
That's all the notes.
Wow. Oh, that's a wild one. That's a wild one to think about.
Yeah. It's just like the after effects are astronomical, because then it makes you view any kind of terrorist attack with a different lens.
Well, it's funny because just to bring it up, it's like you can kind of see Alex Jones is almost like this Lannister guy. What's his name again?
Lemnitzer.
Lemnitzer. Like, he's almost like that guy. He's seen so much that he's just like, he's like, all of this is fake. Anytime something pops up, Alex Jones is like, this is fake. Because it's like he knows so much of like what they've done in the past. It's like, how do you trust?
Yeah.
And that goes for anybody, really. Not just Alex Jones. Anybody in the public who's like awake to this type of stuff. It's like, how do you trust anything that you see?
Yeah.
When you know that like there is a possibility. It's not 100%, but it's a percentage at all.
Yeah, there's a chance.
Yeah, which makes it like, huh.
Yeah, whereas most people who just watch mainstream media, everything gets swept under the rug. They don't talk about things like this. So anybody who watches that just thinks, oh, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Just carte blanche, no.
Yeah. And that's a weird place to be in.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being in that place. Just and it's weird because like you could ask regular people about it. Like, hey, do you know that the US government did this? They'd be like,
no, they didn't do that.
They would just think that like you just don't have facts. They would be like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Like, oh, that's conspiracy
theory. You heard a
theory.
thing from like, again, they probably bring up Alex Jones. You heard something.
Yeah.
And you'd have to be like, no, this is an actual thing.
Yeah, it's factual.
It's weird. And it's a lot to take on. That's why a lot of people don't want to deal with thinking about that.
And a lot of people too just stop learning as well. And they don't like to change their mind because it's more comfortable not to.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
thank you again to everybody who watches this, because you are some of the people who have open minds, and that's really nice.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, well, I shouldn't say it's tough. It's fun. It's fun getting a very unique education via doing these podcasts and listening to these podcasts. You know, because I'm just like anybody who's listening. Like that's what I do. My main thing is I listen to podcasts. That's my superpower. I can listen to podcasts over and over again all the time, and I love doing it. It's always fun, no matter how many times I've heard it. I enjoy it every time. It's weird. So I do this exact same thing, and it's hard to have to open up to like, okay, now I have to really, like, you hear something on the news and you have to double think it. And now it's getting to the point where you have to like look close to see if it's a green screen, and you have to watch, and if you see a screen glitch, you have to think like, are they actually there? Is this an actual thing? And then you have to think of the company, and then you have to think of their leaning, and okay, they're a left leaning thing, so okay, of course they're saying that. And then you have to go to the right leaning thing, you have to see that, and then you have to find someone who's in the middle, and it's like, it's difficult. It gets really difficult once you like understand how things work. It's not a fun process.
No.
I'm glad I did it when I was young. When I was like 15 or 17, something like that.
Yeah, you've kind of always been into that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. YouTube used to be a different place. Basically, YouTube used to be like Rumble. Like the way like Rumble is a platform right now that's like, they're trying to be like the YouTube of like free speech, where you can like say anything and you can do whatever. They're trying to be like that, but that's what YouTube used to be. You could just Google Operation Northwoods all day and get 12 documentaries about Operation Northwoods.
Yeah.
Now you can't get anything.
Yeah, even on Google, it's hard. You have to like use the alternative search engines.
Yeah, you gotta go DuckDuckGo. You gotta go Bing. You gotta go wherever you can. Like it's getting weird, to say the least. But what do you want to do next? What do you want to do next in terms of one of these episodes?
I don't know. We did some good ones. Do you want to do another history one or another kind of fun one?
I don't know. I want to do Freemasons because I love Freemasonry, but yeah, it is a big one. But we have some other ones. I know we have Operation Fishbowl. I know you have the notes on that.
Yeah, it's a good one about like nuclear stuff.
Yeah, we can always do that.
Or like Area 51. That's always entertaining.
That's a fun one.
And the weather balloons.
I do want to do one on just on this guy. I really do.
Yeah.
Lyman. Lyman. I want to do one just on him. That'd be really cool. And then one on just like the JFK assassination altogether.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's so up in the air when you're just talking about, oh, did a crazy person do it, this, that. But when you just like go through those notes of like, he denied this, then died, then later this same guy gets reinstalled who he denied
to investigate his death,
and he fired, basically. It's like, oh, okay. It's obvious what happened.
Yeah,
like,
it's
everybody
crazy.
behind the scenes was like, this guy's not playing along. Because even Sammy Gravano, when it comes to JFK, he was talking about how people in the mob were promised certain things by JFK's father. And not only JFK was doing things like this, but also his brother was heavily going after the mob and trying to like get arrests and get indictments on these guys. So the mob, like the heads of the mob, basically, from what this guy Sammy's talking about, he's like, they were just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like you both of your sons were supposed to do all this stuff, and they're doing the opposite.
And now they're going after them.
And you promised us that this would happen. Like, you know what's going to happen. We're going to have to kill your sons. Right? And then on the other side of that, the CIA's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Because JFK wanted to disband the CIA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a thing he wanted. He wanted no more CIA.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He wanted to get rid of it.
Wow. It's like, what were they doing to make him think that?
Yeah. What was he seeing?
Other than Operation Northwoods, that kind of stuff.
Right? So, like, there was a bunch of stuff that he was just going heavily against. He was taking this chance as, like, the president to just be like,
yeah,
I'm just going to do what I think is right.
Well, yeah, that makes sense too, like, to get rid of the CIA, because if you think about what was going on in that time, it's MK Ultra and all this stuff with Operation Northwoods and the nuclear stuff. We haven't talked about Operation Fishbowl. So they were doing some pretty evil stuff in those decades.
That's true. So if you're that guy, if you're JFK, you're just like, why does this exist?
Yeah.
What
and
is
like
this?
He probably like was inaugurated as president, learned all this stuff, all the confidential stuff, and was like, holy shit, like, who are these people?
Yeah, it's very true. I have a playlist, and I always keep it. It's an untitled playlist, and it's JFK's actual final speech, where he talks about, he's like, we don't want any secret oaths taken in dark rooms. Like, he's like, we want no secret societies, no secret oaths. He's like, he wanted all of that gone. And, like, that was actually one of his last speeches that he gave before he died.
Interesting.
Crazy. Because he knew, he was just like, this is if you know what the Constitution, the Bill of Rights are, and then you see all this stuff, you're like, well, this doesn't match up. Like, there's no justify. Like, if I know what this is, and I know how important this is, which is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, none of this can be justified. Like, you can't do a balancing act with this. It's like, if this is real and this is what we hold ourselves to, then this can't exist. Period. That's it. Which is, yeah. So, good for him.
Well, good for trying.
He made, exactly, right? He made that sacrifice. They always say, guys who serve, whenever they come back, people are always like, thank you for your service, your sacrifice. But they always talk about how, like, the guys who didn't come back are the ones that made the sacrifices.
Yeah, true.
It's not the guys who come back. But so he made a sacrifice, basically. He tried his best to do what was right. Yeah, it's crazy the way things turn out for people in those positions.
Yeah.
I think, like, when you really break down that, he was like the closest thing to somebody being like, you guys can't believe what the fuck's going on out there. You guys, this can't go on anymore.
Yeah.
He just didn't do it like that. But
should have.
Imagine a president did. Imagine he's got on TV. We're live, right? We're live. We are, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, everybody, get everything together. Those of you that have ammo, you have to get it together. Can you imagine?
That'd be so crazy.
They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me in minutes. You have to stop this. Only you have the power. Get shot in the head.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can do JFK next. Or the moon landing is also fun.
Fun talk. The moon landing mixed with Stanley Kubrick. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good
My
one.
favorite director. If you ever see me make a film, you can look for things like you'd look for in Stanley Kubrick's
Yeah, we're going to be wearing one eyelash.
One eyelash. There'd be certain numbers. Even this, they can't see it because it's here, but it's Anthony Bourdain's last tweet. There's a reason I always have Joe Rogan and Anthony Bourdain on the walls. There's a reason for it. It's like a code. And they were friends, cool enough. They were good friends.
Well, they hang out together now.
That sounds so bad. Because Anthony killed himself.
That's true.
So they say. But anyway, yeah, we'll figure out what we're going to do later. Again, the clothing store, it's up and running. Sold, not for sale. And also, I'm not wearing it right now, but we have the anti-WEF shirt. Can I switch over? No, I cannot. Let's bring that up here. Boom. Now can I switch over? All right. And we also have, just to show you guys, we also have the anti-WEF shirts. If you want to say no to the WEF in style, that's the shirt for you. I'm trying to make a clothing line that can be a symbolic middle finger to the establishments, because you can't go to every rally and every presidential or prime minister thing and give the guy the finger, but you can wear these shirts. You'll never see Klaus in person. It's going to be very hard for you to do that, But you can always wear this, and that will be the symbolic middle finger to that person.
Yeah. And maybe somebody will see it and look it up. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's a conversation starter. It's a good conversation starter. If you're ever looking to just bring up theories and stuff like that, fun flag stuff, then you can always wear one of those shirts. It'll set it off.
Wear it to a family gathering. It'll be some fun.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. What do you mean your soul's not for sale? Well, you have to understand that the work that they put us through, the economy, it's all soul-sucking jobs. And they'll be like, oh, George. George always does this. But all right, let's get out of here, honey. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Date Night News, the best alternative news on the internet.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I'm out.